Okay, the meeting of the Atlantic County Board of Commissioners is called to order. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting of Atlantic County Board of Commissioners was provided in the following manner. Published in the Press of Atlantic City and mailed to the Current, the Daily Journal, the Hamilton Gazette, and the Hamilton News, and has been posted on the bulletin boards in the county office building in Atlantic City, the Stillwater Building in Northfield, and the county clerk's office in Mays Landing. Am I echoing? No? Okay, it's just me. Okay. Prior to our prayer this evening, I just want to note that this past weekend, we have seen tragic gun violence in our nation. And as we pray, I'd like to ask that we take a moment of silence to remember the innocent who have lost their lives, and to also pray that in the coming week, whatever the verdict in the George Floyd trial, that we are able to have peaceful protests and avoid continued death and violence. O God, who art the source of all existence and light of all, seeing, uplift our thoughts from the littleness of our own works to the greatness, the majesty and the wonder of thine, and teach us so to behold thy glory, that we may grow into thy likeness. Amen. One moment of silence. Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll have a flag salute. We'll face flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Okay, Madam Clerk, can we have a roll call?
Certainly. Ballas?
Here.
Bertino?
Here.
Coursey? Commissioner Coursey did call me earlier today. Oh, okay, he did not respond.
He's here.
Okay. Commissioner Days? Commissioner Fitzpatrick?
Here.
Commissioner Gatto?
Here.
Commissioner Risley?
Here.
And Commissioner Kern.
Here. Commissioners have had an opportunity to review the minutes from March 2nd, 2021. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the March 2nd, 2021 minutes as presented. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, and I just want to make our little note, as we have in every, since last year. Anyone that would like to speak during public comments, please type yes and the resolution number in the question and answer box. Any times not listed on the agenda, any items not listed on the agenda, you may speak during public comments. You'll be raised from an attendee to a panelist. When you're raised, please state your name and the town you reside. Okay, and is Pat Diamond here?
Yes, hi, good afternoon, Commissioners.
Hi. I have asked Pat Diamond to touch upon the impact of the pause to the usage of the J&J vaccine and its implications to Atlantic County and our ability to reach herd immunity. It might be too soon, but I definitely wanted to hear, what Pat had to say in her comments on this. So the floor is yours.
Unfortunately, there was a pause in the J&J vaccine, is what we're all aware of, and that is really to the credit of how protective the FDA, CDC is in guarding us to make sure that the vaccines are not only effective but also safe. So what we have seen, and I have talked to staff as far as taking calls, is that there is some hesitancy, an increase in hesitancy. And we have seen hesitancy all along. Well, first we saw a rush, everybody wanted it, but there was a certain number of people, and really people of all walks of life, professional people, people in all sorts of occupations, students, also, that would be hesitant in the sense that, well, I'm going to wait and see, and then I'll get a vaccine and then I'll decide. a small percentage of those individuals much more wanted the vaccine. But with the J&J, we're seeing a little bit more of that. But we're also seeing, though, that many people have received the vaccine, trying to contact those individuals that were homebound, and many of them have received it. As far as herd immunity right now, I know early on, and herd immunity is actually when you have a level of occurs when people become immune to a disease, to make it spread unlikely. And as a result, the entire community would be protected, even those who are not themselves immune. Herd immunity is actually achieved by two things: through vaccination, but it also can occur through natural infection. So when I report those cases to you every other week, those cases that I reported to be positive, there is protection amongst those individuals. So right now we're at like 26,000. So by being infected, it does confer immunity. However, as far as how long it is, we're not really sure of. The vaccination also confers immunity as well. So you've got the combination of vaccination, the combination of previous infections, and it is now becoming quite high. And with it, seeing the decrease in cases in the future, that's a combination of both. But herd immunity is really protection of those that have not received the vaccine from getting infected, because all around them, they have received the vaccine. So as far as right now, I don't think the philosophy is achieving herd immunity as much as it is trying to get people vaccinated, trying to control the disease, instead of actually trying to reach that goal. But right now, we're looking at controlling the disease through vaccinations and through mitigation measures.
Thank you, Pat. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So just a briefing. But again, as we continue to focus on vaccination, where our vaccination numbers have increased since the last time I spoke to you 2 weeks ago, we are actually now 55% of Atlantic County adults receiving at least one vaccine. So the hesitancy is there, but it's not at any high level. But what is interesting and what is comforting is that 79% of adults in the 65 years and over age group have been vaccinated. And these, of course, are our most vulnerable citizens. You can say underlying conditions, all ages. However, as we see in the reported deaths that are distributed each day, the age groups are high. The other thing is that we are seeing an increase in vaccination in the people in minorities. Our Black population, African American, is up to 7%. We still need to work on that because we do have a 17% African American Black population in our county. Our Hispanic population, we're up to 11%, which is slightly above when I reported to you previously. However, we do still need to work in that area because we are on the low side. We're at the mega site, and what is also I like to announce is that the mega site, actually beginning this Wednesday, is serving walk-in clients, walk-in patients. So between 1 to 3 p.m. starting this Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, a person can go to the site, an appointment will be made for you, and you will get your vaccine, which is great in the fact that if those individuals that may be apprehensive about going on the site to register online, they will do it there right at the site. So that is good news. But we did suspend the J&J vaccine as we were directed to. However, we have a small amount of Moderna that we are administering to homebound and to any individuals that may say need a second dose. If anyone has any questions or concerns about J&J or about any of the other vaccines, the New Jersey Poison Information Education System, or New Jersey PIES, is available 24/7 to answer any questions. I mean, they're there to answer any questions about COVID-19, but are also there to answer any questions or concerns about the vaccines. And their number is 1-800-962, and that's 1253. So that's 1-800-962-1253. And who is on the other end of the phone are health professionals. So it's not lay people that go through, a 2-week program or whatever to learn everything there is to know about COVID. These are people that are physicians, nurses, nurse practitioners, epidemiologists that are there to answer your questions. So that is a really good thing. If you are hesitant about getting a vaccine, is to call them and they will be prepared to answer any of the questions that you may have.
Thank you, Pat.
Welcome.
Do any of the commissioners have any questions or comments for Ms. Diamond? No? Do we have any questions from the public?
No questions from the public.
Okay, thank you. Once again, Pat, thank you very much for being here and updating us.
Okay, and I just have to give you this blurb. Although, our cases are slightly decreasing and our vaccination rates are going up or increasing, that's really great news. And we're cautiously optimistic that it will continue in the right directions, both in the right directions, increase in vaccination, decrease in cases. But you still need to keep your guard up because there is this virus that is circulating, continues to circulate. Okay, so enjoy your day and enjoy your meeting, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, prior to starting the ordinances, I just want to make note that.
Madam Chair?
Yes. Yes, Commissioner Coursey?
I'm having some difficulties on multitude of occasions, but I wanted to weigh in before Pat got off. I didn't know if she mentioned it and them are doing walk up at the
Commissioner, I'm not hearing you.
Commissioner Coursey, we can't hear you, Commissioner Coursey.
I think it was, I think Commissioner Coursey was saying about the walk-up availability of vaccines at the mega site. Asked if I had brought it up, but it was great that he repeated that at the mega site in Atlantic City Convention Center, 1 Convention Boulevard, starting this Wednesday, continuing Thursday and Friday from 1 to 3, people can go and actually go to the site and they will make an appointment for them and they will be able to get a vaccination, which is great for, say, the city in Atlantic City, because you do have a lot of walkers in the city, but it's also great for those individuals that are really hesitant about making an appointment online. They can just go there. There's free parking underneath the convention. There's actually vaccinations available on the first floor. If you go to the second floor, there's escalators. So it really is easy to access. And there's assistance for those individuals that may still have difficulty with walking. So it's a great thing. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, walk-ups at the Atlantic City Convention Center from 1 to 3.
Okay, thank you again, Pat. Yes, it's a great thing that we can offer our community. Okay, you'll note that during today's meeting, we have a variety of ordinances, grants, bid contracts that are dealing with county roads and other infrastructure assets. New Jersey currently is number 15 among all states in the United States in regards to pedestrian fatalities. Not a position we should be proud of. Approximately 141 people are killed a year, 270 severely injured, and over 6,000 people are struck a year. I'm sharing the facts to demonstrate the important role that we play as commissioners in serving our constituents and working to ensure our roads are safe as possible. And then we'll go into ordinance number 2.
Chairwoman Kern, Commissioner Coursey said he is having technical difficulties. I can still see him on, but he said he will not be returning back to the meeting.
Okay.
Bond ordinance amending and supplementing bond ordinance number 3 of 2020, providing for various pedestrian traffic signal improvements, finally adopted by the Board of Chosen Freeholders, now Board of County Commissioners, on December 1, 2020, to increase the appropriation therein by $580,750 and to increase the authorization of bonds or notes therein by $553,096 to finance part of the additional costs thereof. Final reading.
Motion.
Second.
Hey, motion been made and second. Do I have any comments from the commissioners? Seeing none, do we have any comments since it's a final reading from the public?
No comments from the public.
Okay, we'll have a roll call, please.
Ballas,
Yes.
Bertino.
Yes.
I'm going to call Corsi because I still see his name. Corsi, Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Kern.
Yes, motion carries. That brings us to bond ordinance number 3 for the first reading.
Bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements for fiscal year 2021 by and for the Atlantic Cape Community College located within the County of Atlantic, State of New Jersey, appropriating $4,800,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $4,800,000 bonds or notes of the County of Atlantic, State of New Jersey for financing such appropriation, the principal of and interest on the aggregate principal amount of which will be entitled to state aid pursuant to Chapter 12 of the Laws of New Jersey of 1971, first reading.
Moved.
Second.
Motion made in second. Do we have any comments from the commissioners? Seeing none, I'll have a roll call.
Ballas,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Kern.
Yes, motion carries. That brings us to ordinance number 3.
An ordinance amending County Code Chapter 73 entitled Fees Concerning the Atlantic County Training Center Fees for Police Training Academy to out-of-county law enforcement recruits, first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Motion made in second. Any comments from the commissioners?
Just briefly, Madam Chair.
Yep.
Mike Fedorko informed us in committee that this increase is very, very reasonable and that other counties are far higher than we are. So this is a good ordinance to vote for. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Do we have any other comments? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Kern.
Yes, motion carries. We have now ordinance number 4.
An ordinance establishing no passing zones along Summers Point Mays Landing Road, County Route 559 in the city of Summers Point, Atlantic County, first reading.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made in second. Any comments from the commissioners?
Madam.
Freeholder?
Yes, I think this is a good start, but as we read in our notes, City of Summers Point did request a lowering of the speed limit there, which, all my years in law enforcement and traveling that roadway probably 4 times each day, I believe that we really need another look at lowering the speed limit there with the business and residential communities that are there, kind of traffic. Not sure what time of day that study was done and what time of year, but it's extremely dangerous, especially in the summer months with the traffic going to and from on the weekends.
Thank you, Commissioner. Jerry, is that something we can look to do in the future? They did not like the time of the day that it was done, and there's other situations they felt it should be done at different times of day.
Okay.
And
Well, John Peterson and Mark George were on. I just want to make sure from Route 9 going west, they had asked for a reduction in speed limit. I'll let John and Mark go through what they did there. Then from Route 9 back toward, which would be north, going toward the bridge, there was a different decision because of the study that was done. So, John, I think you're on, or Mark, why don't you go through quickly the studies and the 2 different pieces of roadway? I'm assuming they're on. I thought I saw his name. No, okay. I'm assuming they're not on. I'm looking again, and I thought I saw their names on. So let's just be clear.
Yeah, I am on.
Okay, good. Go ahead.
I thought maybe John was going to handle it. Our traffic unit looked at it, and there's certain statutes that we go by, and certain regulations that we go by to determine whether or not something merits a certain speed. It's based on densities, it's based on types of uses, and we've looked at both of these areas with regard to the speed. The issues with regard to eliminating the passing zone, even though the passing zone would be permitted in that area, the city of Summers Point is also proposing a bike and pedestrian way between where the old circle was and the Ocean City Bridge and Route 9. Based on all of that, it was agreed that we would change that to a no passing zone. But we've also added other signage as part of the plan. So it's not only the striping, we're going to enhance the signage in the area. And, as everybody knows, speeding, because you post a speed, reducing a speed from one speed to the other, posted speed, doesn't mean that the people are going to slow down. That's based on law enforcement. Law enforcement needs to be the entity that deals with excessive speed. But the posted speed is not unsafe. I mean, we will take a look at it. Requested, we'll look at it again. We have looked multiple times at different areas for speed reduction, and we go by the guidelines that are the federal guidelines that are based on the types of uses and whether or not there's safe access. So before we jump to a conclusion, let's make the enhancements to that roadway. And if need be, we'll look at it again in the future.
Thank you, John. And let's see if we can get some of their council or police department's comments too as to when they feel the time frame, might work better.
Yeah, Mark, just if I could just add, especially with the new bike path and walk area over the new Parkway Bridge, tying that into the causeway going into Ocean City, which is extremely busy, and now connecting them too with a bikeway and walkway, it's even more reason to reduce the speed there. As you know, most law enforcement officers aren't going to write a ticket for someone that's going 1 or 2 miles over the speed limit. Usually they're set at 10 miles or above. So if you're looking at 45-mile-an-hour zone there, you're looking at people going 55 before an officer would even look twice at the car going past. If not, they'd be sitting there all day long writing tickets for anywhere from 10 miles an hour to 1 mile an hour over the speed limit. And it's especially in the summertime when there's so many people that are out and so much traffic on that roadway.
I appreciate that, Commissioner, and we will take a look at it. And I understand exactly what you're saying. It's some of those things that we actually looked at already, but we'll relook at it again. Appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Bells. Do we have any other comments from our commissioners? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to table resolution number 85 for consideration at another meeting.
Motion to table.
Second.
Motion made in second. Do we need a roll call on that one? Yeah, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 206, please.
Additional appropriations to the 2021 temporary budget pursuant to NJSA 48:4-20.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made in second. Do we have any comments from the commissioners? Seeing none, do we have any comments from the public?
No comments from the public.
Okay, we'll have a roll call, please.
Ballas,
Yes.
Bertino,
I recuse.
I'm sorry, Commissioner, I didn't hear you. Bertino,
I said recuse.
He recused.
thank you. Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Kern.
Yes, motion carries. That brings us to resolution 207, please.
Amending Resolution Number 52, adopted February 4, 2020, Funds Exchange Program Cost Reimbursement Agreement with the New Jersey Department of Transportation for fiscal year 17 Transportation Trust Fund funding for the construction costs associated with Margate Ventnor Bicycle Infrastructure Project. Net increase $7,429.99.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made in second. Do we have any comments from the commissioners?
The good news is the bike rack is almost freaking done.
Is this the end of it then?
We're hoping, right?
Yeah, they said, I don't know if Mark is still there, but they said this would get us to the finish line.
Yes, they did. Okay, any other comments from the commissioners? Do we have any comments from the public?
No comments from the public.
Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 208.
Amending grant application and acceptance from the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety for the Highway Traffic Safety Program grant, amount not to exceed $43,500.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made in second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing none, any comments from the public?
No comments from the public.
Okay, we'll have a roll call, please.
Ballas,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 209.
Grant application to the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety for a drug recognition expert grant, amount not to exceed $115,000.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made in second. Any comments from the commissioners?
Madam Chair?
Commissioner
Yeah,
Ballas?
thank you. Yeah, this grant is so important. It's been around for quite some time, but it's even more important now with the recent legalization of marijuana and keeping our highways, our roadways safe for our residents and visitors. Hopefully, we will get more DREs, which are drug recognition experts, police officers that are trained to test someone that is under the influence of something more than just alcohol. So it's great that we're getting this much money from the state, that they see the need here in Atlantic County for this.
Thank you, Commissioner. Do we
And
have any other?
Madam Chair, if I could just build off of something that Commissioner Ballas brought up. We actually did have conversation, Commissioner Ballas, about that point around, the legalization of marijuana and how do you measure and, what kind of guidelines are being drafted for that. And we did talk with our, Director of Public Safety, and he mentioned that he is working with the Attorney General and various other agencies that are putting together those guidelines. So those are things that are being worked on and thought about. And so we're just kind of eagerly waiting for that guidance to come out.
Thank you, Commissioner Gatto. Do we have any other comments from the commissioners? Hey, seeing none, do we have any comments from the public?
No comments from the public.
Okay, roll call, please.
Ballas,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 210.
Grant application to the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety for the Atlantic County Cares for Kids Diversity Program. Amount not to exceed $25,450.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any comments from our commissioners? Seeing none, any comments from the public?
No comments from the public.
Okay, we'll have a roll call, please.
Ballas,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 211, please.
Grant acceptance from the New Jersey Governor's Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse for participation in the Alliance to Prevent Alcoholism and Drug Abuse to allocate countywide activity funding amount not to exceed $188,811.
Make a motion.
Second.
Second.
Had a motion and a second. Do we have any comments from the commissioners?
Madam Chair, this is just a reminder. This is the funding that helps fund the municipal alliances throughout our county.
Thank you. Do we have any other comments? Any comments from the public?
No comments from the public.
Okay, we'll have a roll call, please.
Ballas,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Horsey. Oh, sorry. Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Kern.
Yes, motion carries. That brings us to our competitive contracts with Resolution 212.
Renewal competitive contract with Royal Printing Service for the provision of election ballot services for 2020 elections, amount not to exceed $500,750. The county's portion, $250,750. Municipal portion, $250,000.
Motion.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Do I have any comments from our commissioners? Seeing none, is there any comments from the public?
No comments from the public.
Okay, we'll have a roll call, please.
Ballas,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Okay, that brings us into the bid contracts with Resolution 213.
Renewal bid contract with Allen Corman and Son Incorporated for the provision of helicopter rental for mosquito surveillance, amount not to exceed $136,500.
Motion. Second.
Motion made and second. Any comments from our commissioners? Seeing none, any comments from the public?
No comments from the public.
Okay, we have a roll call, please.
Ballas,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Horsey, Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 214.
Bid contract with Coastal Glass Building Solutions to provide window cleaning services at various county buildings, amount not to exceed $67,250.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do I have any comments from the commissioners? Seeing none, do we have any comments from the public?
No comments from the public.
Okay, I have a roll call, please.
Ballas,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 215.
Bid contract with various vendors to provide sanitizing services of various county buildings, amount not to exceed $81,470.97.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing none, any comments from the public?
No comments from the public.
Okay, we'll have roll call.
Ballas,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 216.
Bid contract with MCH Equipment Incorporated to provide washer and dryer repair services at various locations. Amount not to exceed $105,000 for a 2-year period.
Motion.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any comments from the commissioners?
Madam Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Ballas.
Yeah, to Jerry, how many washers and dryers do we have in the county to have $105,000 over a 2-year period for repairs?
Well, I mean, I'll give you Jerry Griffin is on, but I mean, just for the sake of argument, you know, you have at least you have the nursing home, you know, you have the jail, you have the animal shelter. Jerry, you there?
Yes, I'm here, Jerry.
Okay.
Yeah, we also have the Harbor Fields. You know, we got
Yeah.
Harbor Fields. There's 4 units out there. There must be 8 at the jail. There's got to be 6 at Meadowview. And there's quite a lot of service. You know, and it is a 2-year contract, so we give ourselves enough money in there to be able to complete those service calls that are needed and parts.
Just Commissioner, just one thing for, you know, at the jail, they're running 16 hours a day. At Meadowview, they run 16 hours of the day. And at Harbor Fields, they're generally anywhere between 8 and 12 hours a day.
Right. Is there money in that contract for replacement?
No, replacements are $20,000. You know, to replace one of the big dryers or
Right.
the washing machines are about $15,000. We have replaced them in the past, several at the jail, several at Meadowview. For now, they're all up and running pretty good. So it's just maintaining them.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we
You
weren't
know,
putting.
there's service, there's
Yeah.
cleaning. They have to go out and clean the ducts. There's typical service that needs to be done, you know, monthly.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, thanks, Jerry, for clarifying that. Do we have any other questions or comments from the commissioners? Seeing none, do we have any from the public?
Creed Hogue, we're going to raise him to a panelist.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. My question only was, as a follow-up to some extent to Commissioner Ballas's question, is the number available of how much was actually spent out of the last contract? I know some of these are a not to exceed type amount, so you're trying to, you know, play contingencies, but do you know how much was actually spent? Whether that was the last 2 years or however long the previous contract ran? Thank you.
I've got our senior accountant here in my office with me. She said we did not expend the entire contract, but doesn't have an exact figure of what's left. So, you know, we try to leave a little bit because you never know what's going to come up. Sometimes it could be a part that's $4,000 or $5,000 along with a service call. So, but we did not use the entire amount.
Okay.
I can get that answer for you. But,
Sure, that I appreciate that. Thank you. Just out of curiosity as much as anything else.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other comments from the public? Do we have any other comments? No. Okay, roll call.
Ballas,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 218, please.
17.
17.
Bid contract with RNM Construction for the installation of a steel stairwell to access mechanical room at the Lake Lenape East Catering Hall. Amount not to exceed $65,625.
So
Motion.
moved.
Second.
Motion made in second. Do we have any comments from the commissioners? Seeing none, do we have any comments from the public?
No comments from the public.
Okay, we have roll call.
Ballas,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
yes,
Gatto,
Yes.
Risley,
yes,
and Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 218, please.
Bid contract with Huber Locksmiths Incorporated to provide lock repair services, amount not to exceed $168,200 for a 2-year period.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made in second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing none, any comments from the public?
No comments from the public.
Okay, we have a roll call.
Ballas,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
yes,
Gatto,
Yes.
Risley,
yes,
and Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 219.
Bid contract with Ocean Construction Limited Liability Corporation to provide masonry maintenance and repairs to various Atlantic County locations. Amount not to exceed $48,320.60.
so moved.
Second.
Motion made in second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing none, any comments from the public?
No comments from the public.
Okay, we'll have a roll call, please.
Ballas,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
yes,
Gatto,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes,
and Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 220.
Bid contract with A.E. Stone Incorporated for the State Highway Improvement Project on various roads. Amount not to exceed $1,292,000.
Motion.
Second.
second,
Motion made in second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing none, any comments from the public?
No comments from the public.
Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
yes,
Gatto,
Yes.
Risley,
yes,
and Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Okay, we're going to start our change orders with Resolution 221.
Change order number 1 and final, contract with Arawak Paving Company Incorporated for the 2019 County Highway Improvement Project of various roads. Net increase $10,261.15.
Motion.
second,
Motion made in second. Do we have any comments from the commissioners?
Madam Chair, just, this is, for replacement of guide rail, that wasn't anticipated and was found when, they were repairing the road. It had to be replaced on both sides.
Thank you, Commissioner. Do we have any other comments from our commissioners? Seeing none, do we have any comments from the public?
No comments from the public.
Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
yes,
Gatto,
Yes.
Risley,
yes,
and Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Okay, then we'll have Resolution 222.
Interlocal agreement with the City of Absecon for the proposed reconstruction and elevation of a section of Shore Road, County Route 585, amount not to exceed $1 million.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made in second. Any comments from the commissioners?
yes, Chairwoman, I have a question, please.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick?
Thank you. Jerry, I didn't notice in the detail how high the road was going to be raised.
I think Mark is on. I just want to remind everybody, this is shared service week. This is Mayor Horton wrote a letter to the county executive, and there are two pieces. This is one piece, and there was another piece out on Pitney Road that you all voted on earlier in 2020. Mark, you there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So Jerry is correct. We had an agreement with Absecon regarding a sidewalk, pedestrian, and improvement to drainage project on Pitney Road, which was the first part of this. This is the second part of that request by Absecon for an interlocal agreement. To answer the commissioner's question, how high we're going to raise the road will not actually get raised significantly. We're talking about 18 inches in elevation. The restriction there is the elevation underneath the railroad overpass. We can't raise the elevation there. So if whatever we increase the roadway between the railroad and Illinois Avenue, and actually it'll extend beyond Illinois Avenue, we'll just transfer the flooding down to that area. The proposal basically is to raise it to the same elevation that's underneath the railroad currently. That area doesn't flood as frequently as the rest of the roadway. So if we get this one area elevated, it's going to remove the nuisance flooding. It's not going to remove the full moon, high tide, storm event flooding that will occasionally close the road, but it will remove a lot of the bi-monthly full moon type action that elevates the water in that area. It's all tidal, but if you add a tidal storm with a rain event, you're going to get flooding there. So we're going to do the best we can with it, and we'll improve that whole roadway. The drainage will actually, when the tides go down, they'll be able to drain faster. So that's all part of the proposal. We're in the concept plan stage right now. Survey work was done, and then this is really to continue to move forward with the design. The city wants the commitment that the county will do the work if they go through the design. I would estimate that their input into the project is probably going to be $140,000 in the design fee that they are working with Remington and Vernicon, and then our part is the heavier lift, but the construction portion of it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Do we have any other questions from the commissioners or comments?
Madam Chair, just one question for Mark.
Commissioner Ballas?
Yes. Mark, how realistic is that without knowing the design concept, it's that $1 million figure for completion of that?
So the way we come up with a number like that is to take a typical cross section of the roadway in the concept portion, and then multiply that by the length of the roadway that we're going to do the road improvement for, and then add the linear type development, the storm drainage in the curb, and that's how it's estimated. So we believe that's a realistic number.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other commissioners' questions or comments? Seeing none, is there anything from the public?
No comments from the public.
Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 223.
Alternate method contract with Pictometry International Corporation to provide aerial and digital maps of Atlantic County, amount not to exceed $175,447.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any comments from the commissioners? Okay, seeing none. Anything from the public?
No comments from the public.
Okay, we have a roll call.
Ballas,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 224, please.
Alternate method contract with Vehicle Leasing Associates to lease undercover vehicles for confidential and undercover investigations for the Atlantic County Prosecutor's Office. Amount not to exceed $135,000 for a 2-year period.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing none. Any comments from the public?
No, yes. Mr. Pogue has a comment. We are lifting him to a panelist. Mr. Pogue?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. My two questions were, is there a, I just forgot the technical term, but a buyout at the end of the lease, or is it anticipated those would just go back since they were undercover use? And is that the same procedure that's used for the public works trucks lease purchase, or are those bought outright?
Jerry, is that something you can answer?
I think Jerry's talking from you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, they go back. This is an agreement with the Attorney General to allow prosecutors' offices to go lease these type vehicles so that they're not purchased in the end. And the process that they use is a little bit different than what we use. They work through the Attorney General's office. When we're out leasing vehicles, we usually do a lease purchase over a 5-year period. This is a little different.
Oh, the trucks are a 5-year lease purchase?
That's generally what we've been doing over the course of, let's say, 10 years or so. Yes, correct. Maybe a little longer. Yes.
But there's a buyout at the end.
Yes.
To take them. Right. Okay. All right.
That's absolutely correct. Yes.
All right. Understood. Thank you.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, do we have any other comments from the public?
No further comments from the public.
Okay, we have a roll call, please.
Ballas,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Kern.
Yes, motion carries. That brings us to resolution 225.
Resolution supporting an application for funding for the replacement of Lake Lenape Dam.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any comments from the commissioners?
Madam Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Gatto.
I think I brought this up at our last meeting under new business that this would be coming. As I mentioned, we are working with Congressman Van Drew's office through young man Antonucci. He's been doing a lot of great work to work to gain federal funding for the work that has to get done to the dam. You'll see I know it's a lengthy resolution that gives kind of the history on the dam, but you'll see our estimated cost right now is about $6.2 million, which we share with the Township of Hamilton. The grant that we're applying for asks for 75% funding from the federal government with a 25% county match, which would really bring the cost down to the county and the municipality to, I think, a little over $1 million each, rather than the over $3 million each. So if we can obtain this, it'll be a really beneficial thing for our taxpayers, not only from a price perspective, but in terms of getting that dam work complete, Lake Lenape Dam work completed. And I know the Township of Hamilton is also kind of doing the same steps on their side. There was a lot of requirements for the grant, including this resolution and letters of support and things like that. So our staff, as well as the township staff, have been working together to get all the pieces together. And the application is due at the end of this week, I believe, or early next week.
Thank you, Commissioner, for those details. Do we have any other comments or questions from the commissioners? Seeing none, do we have anything from the public?
No comments from the public.
Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 226.
Amendment to the temporary fiscal year 2021 capital budget.
Motion.
Second?
Motion made and seconded. Any comments from the commissioners? Hey, do we have any comments from the public?
No comments from the public.
Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Okay, we have a couple resolutions for roadway solicitations. So I'll entertain a motion to combine and adopt resolution number 227 and 229.
Motion.
Moved.
Motion made and second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing none, any comments from the public?
No comments from the public.
Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Kern.
Yes, motion carries. And so right now we have our commissioner-sponsored resolutions, and I'll entertain a motion to remove resolution number 204 from the public. From the
Motion.
table.
I'll make a motion.
That motion made in second.
I motion.
Okay, second. Okay. We'll have resolution number 204. Do we need a roll call on that?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll have a roll call. I'm taking it off the table.
Ballas,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
No.
Gatto,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Kern.
Yes. Okay, resolution 204.
Resolution supporting the Greater Atlantic City Chamber and opposing New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection Land Use Regulations. Sponsor Richard R. Days.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Motion been made in second. Any comments from the commissioners?
Yeah, Madam Chairwoman. First of all, I just want to be upfront and say that this resolution isn't intended to condemn or even deny, climate change or any impact on the environment regarding sea level rise and its impact on our shoreline. It's intended to really ask for some common sense changes to the land use regulations from the Jersey Department of Environmental Protection and their pact, which is against climate change. Initially, the main one that sticks out to me is, they're looking at a study that projects 80 years into the future. When towns are asked to provide their master plans, they're doing 20 to 30 years. If you do impact studies, when engineers are presenting before zoning and planning boards, it's 20 to 30 years per state regulations. So that's one major issue that not only the chamber, but also labor unions in the area, it's going to have a significant impact on any development along our shore in Atlantic County. Secondly, homeowners, the impact it may have on their flood insurance, requirements to raise them based on the 80-year studies. Again, we're just asking for a little bit of common sense here, asking for some kind of economic impact studies. There are various studies that disagree with the study that the DEP is currently using in their proposals. several towns have already passed resolutions opposing this. Pleasantville, Atlantic City, Brigantine, Longport, Margate, Ventnor, I believe, was in opposition to some of this. So, the towns that have an interest in our seashore and in their residents and how they're be impacted as far as their insurance are opposed and have some concerns with this. Additionally, we're just asking for the public to have some more input on this as well. It's to me, it seems like it's just common sense to not require an 80-year impact study when there are several studies and even their own regulations only go out 20 to 30 years. Anything could be amended. So that's all the chamber and others are asking at this time. Again, it's not saying that climate change isn't impacting our environment and our shoreline. It's just, can we use a little common sense and move cautiously?
Thank you, Commissioner. Do I have any other comments from the commissioners?
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
Yes. Actually, I agree with Commissioner Days in that common sense should prevail and we should have input into these regulations. And that's why I think that we should keep this resolution on the table. I spoke at length with Deputy Commissioner David Rosenblatt after speaking with the Commissioner of the Department of Transportation and an aide from Congressman Van Drew's office. Because as Engineer Shords mentioned earlier, nuisance flooding, or what Mr. Rosenblatt called sunny day flooding, is increasing in its occurrence. It's occurring more often now. Where we live is unusual. And he explained to me, it's like sitting on the sofa, and when you get up, there's a little bit of an imprint. We're sandy, so our land is going down, the water is going up. So we are being impacted even more greatly than other areas in New Jersey that are inland. And Mr. Rosenblatt assured me that this was not going to be a retroactive situation where people were going to have to fix their houses to go along with the new law. And also that the DEP is bringing their show on the road to talk to elected officials starting this summer. And it's just my opinion that we should wait to hear that information firsthand rather than automatically oppose something without hearing directly from the folks who are making the proposals.
Thank you, Commissioner. Do I have any other comments from our commissioners? Seeing none, do we have any comments from the public?
Yes, Mr. Polk has several questions, and he has been raised to a panelist. Mr. Polk?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I would lift up to the commissioners that the first resolved is opposes the regulations as presented. While all of this is still a work in progress, and saying in the fourth one, an opportunity to review and evaluate. And again, it would seem as though it would be a good idea to have DEP invited to a public have a public meeting, have a public hearing, rather than come out and opposing. But for some of the other things in the whereas, you have the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. I'm old enough to remember when people who wanted to deny the impact of climate change were saying, oh, those are too much. And now we seem to be taking their projections as acceptable. And yet those are some serious changes that they're saying we are going to see across shorelines, around the world, and certainly on the East Coast of the United States. So it would just seem as though instead of blanketly saying yet, that it would be better to perhaps first say that there needs to be some, have the public comment, because these regulations aren't set to take effect, if I'm understanding correctly, from the DEP website until at least sometime next year, and then being phased in after that. So that would certainly provide time to invite DEP out to make a presentation, and then people can feel more comfortable with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pogue. Do we have any other comments from our commissioners?
Yeah, Madam Chairman, if I may.
Okay.
Yeah, again, with all due respect, my experience dealing with state agencies, in particular, Turnpike Authority, when we talk about full interchanges on the Parkway, once they come out with their requirements, they do a little dog and pony show. You're really strict in what you're allowed to comment on, and then they take it under advisement. It's a public record, and then that's it. If you look at the resolution that's on the table, well, hopefully off of the table, is off the table and under consideration right now, there are several recommendations for amendments. So I'm considering this would be our public comment period prior to them issuing, their recommendations and going on the road. Again, just asking for a map such as FEMA provides so residents know if their property falls under these new requirements or not. I haven't seen anything. I don't think, again, what the recommendations are. We're not saying a blanket no or niet, as Mr. Pogue said. We do have some recommendations on how it can be as far as, the chamber is concerned and labor, land use attorneys, or a lot of other people in the county, not to mention some municipalities who will be impacted, suggestions on how it can be improved prior to them issuing their proposals. And yeah, it's supposed to be issued this year. Then they go on the road, and then it's going to be, law. So, I think this is our public comment period. So we go on the record with our suggestions for improvements.
Just one more thing. May I? I have seen the map, the interactive maps. They showed it to me when we were having our meeting online. I didn't go to their website to see if it was there, but it's pretty impactful as to what the change will be in 20 years, 30 years, and 50 years. And 20 years goes by in like a flash. I mean, a couple of people I'm looking at on this screen have been at these meetings for 20 years. So it goes by pretty quick. And I would just really, I would have to, I'm not able to vote on this. I'm going to have to abstain because I really think we should wait and listen. It'll take a couple months maybe to get them here. Or if we invite them before their show, then we get to ask the questions. It's not their show, it's our show. So I think we should do the inviting.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Yes, Commissioner.
Yeah, just a couple of quick comments as well. My experience has been the same as I believe a couple of the other commissioners have indicated. When they come out with regulations, the time for questions and answers should have been prior to them presenting these proposals out to the public. They tend to do the dog and pony show. I think that there's some direction that they want to take. I agree that there needs to be some adjustments made to the proposed regulations, given common sense, the area that we're in. Soils is right. Every time it gets wet at the area at the shore, that soil sinks more. We know all that, but I think at the moment you got to send a stronger message to the state of New Jersey and the DEP saying you should have done this with the input out here, and especially in Atlantic County, since we're impacted a little bit different than maybe the communities along the shoreline up farther north. That should have been taken into consideration. They obviously know what the land is out here, and they didn't do that. I think you got to make a stronger statement to them, in my belief, at this time, to let them know, no, you do your due diligence properly. You're smart enough to know better, and that's why I'm going to support you guys. I have my own thoughts on it, on how to proceed, but I'm thinking you send them a stronger message. They tend to listen to that.
Thank you, Commissioner. Do I have any other comments from the commissioners?
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Ballas.
Yeah, I agree with Commissioner Bertino and with Commissioner Days. There was a lot of studies done, title studies that were done after Sandy, a lot of recommendations on flood elevation and everything else, and new maps drawn, and then court battles over the right flood elevation, and now for DEP to just come out and basically say they're going to implement this. If we if we table this and sit on our hands, and sit on the sideline and wait to see what they're going to do without them knowing what our opinion is, I think when they take their show on the road, that will be just to come out and explain to the public and to the elected officials as to what they're doing, why they're doing it, and how they're doing it. Not, hey, give us your recommendations how to change it. If they wanted our input, they would have asked for our input prior to them putting these regulations out, saying and when they're going to go into effect. So, you know, to table it or to abstain is basically saying no. And we need to pass this, and they need to be heard from the municipalities, which municipalities are passing resolutions. Seems like almost every time they have a meeting, another municipality is passing a resolution denouncing this, and we should do the same. And hopefully that sends a poignant message to them, and hopefully they do reach out to the municipalities and the counties to get our opinion. As you know, the state will do what it wants anyway, just like, you know, they shouldn't have torn down all the trees in the middle of the parkway. And you go by one day and they're all down. If that was a business or a private residence doing that, they would have been in court for years. So we need to make a statement, and we need to pass this resolution.
Thank you, Commissioner Ballas. Do I have any other comments from the commissioners?
Madam Chair, I just say I do agree with Commissioner Days and my fellow colleagues who've spoken in favor of it. But I'm gonna vote yes. But I'm not opposed to the idea of bringing them in, Commissioner Fitzpatrick. You know, I do agree this is the way for us to make our voice heard from a public perspective or public feedback perspective. But if they're brave enough to come here and face us in person, I say bring it on, invite them. No reason we can't tackle it from both directions. Thank you.
Good comments, Commissioner. Do we have any other comments from the commissioners? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Abstain.
Gatto?
Yes.
Risling?
Yes.
And Kern?
Yes, motion carries. We now have resolution 230.
Resolution in support of Atlantic Cape Community College's application to the New Jersey Offshore Wind Safety Training Challenge Grant.
Motion.
Second.
Motion's been made and second. Any comments? No comments from the commissioners. Do we have any comments from the public?
No comments from the public.
Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern?
Yes, motion carries. As we go into resolution 231, I want to thank Commissioner Fitzpatrick for bringing this, to the table this evening. It's a very, very serious situation we have and we need to deal with and make awareness to. The governor, I understand, just yesterday signed 7 bills in regard to this. And, let's understand that this isn't just women. This is men and women as well. So, it's a great resolution. And at the same time, we also have our Commissioner Ballas, who has been on the board for probably 12 or more years of the Women's Center. And, he sees firsthand, even through his previous job, as to, how severe this is. So we will now go to resolution 231.
Resolution recognizing April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month, sponsor Karen L. Fitzpatrick.
Motion. Second.
Motion made and second. Commissioner Fitzpatrick, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Chairwoman, and also thank you for allowing me to bring this forward even after the deadline for submission. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. We've acknowledged this for several years now, as we should do. This is an important acknowledgement because as the chairwoman said, sexual assault happens not only to women, but men, children, boys and girls, all. And this year marks the 20th anniversary of Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Additionally, I received an email, Commissioner Ballas may have also received it, that the executive director of New Jersey's Coalition Against Sexual Assault, Patricia Teffenhart, is resigning this year after, I think, 7 or 10 years as executive director. And she provided us with some really good information. In her tenure, the state budget appropriations increased from $900,000 to $12.6 million for NJ CASA to provide advocacy and also support services for survivors of sexual assault. Additionally, they did a survey of survivors, and 9 in 10 of I'll just give you some data. 9 in 10 of the respondents said that they experienced more than one incident of assault in their lifetime. 90% knew or had pre-existing relationships with the person who assaulted them. They go to the police, or actually they go to their friends 80% of the time, but to the police only about 20% of the time. And the respondents say that the legal system has failed to meet their needs. And this is an indication of asking, you know, the actual person who has been victimized, who is a survivor of assault, what's happening to them, rather than the hierarchy telling them what's happening or telling us what's happening to them. So those are very important questions to ask. And additionally, they all underscored the need for more education, educating children and young adults and adults that no is no, and to have personal responsibility and to respect everyone else's space and not intrude upon people's space. And it varies from person to person. So again, I want to thank you all for acknowledging this important month, and as we go forward, to be aware of everybody's got a story, and be aware of people's experiences and offer support where we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Do I have any other comments from the commissioners?
Madam Chair.
Yeah, Commissioner. Yeah.
I want to thank you, Commissioner Fitzpatrick, for bringing this forward. I want to take the opportunity to highlight the work that this board has done in terms of supporting the development of the Child Advocacy Center, which, a lot of the victims that will be, will go through that center are victims of some kind of sexual assault, usually from their family members. And we're going to be offering a whole new level of support for those victims and those crimes with standing advocacy center. So I just want to kind of remind the public that we do have that going on, and that's related to this topic. And the other piece I just wanted to mention that was brought to my attention as the pandemic came about and people had to wear masks, were that there were people who were being ridiculed for not wearing masks and not giving an explanation. And it was brought to attention that in some cases, some of those people might be victims of some kind of assault, typically sexual assault, rape, and a lot of times had their mouths covered or had been held down, and it's traumatic for them to actually put that mask on and have that mouth covered because of that experience. So I just mentioned that, I think we're hopefully past ridiculing people who aren't wearing masks, but just to have that awareness and that sensitivity that, sometimes people aren't wearing it for a reason and maybe they don't want to talk about it, and we should just kind of respect what everybody's doing for their own good, of their own health, whether it's mental or physical or whatever. But it was an interesting perspective that was brought to my attention, and again, kind of relates to this topic and I think deserves some awareness. So thank you again, Commissioner, for bringing it forward.
Thank you, Commissioner Gatto. Do I have any other comments from the commissioners?
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Ballas.
Thank you, ma'am. First of all, just wanted to thank Commissioner Fitzpatrick for bringing this resolution forward. It is a something that needs to be brought to the attention of every individual. You know, the severity of sexual assault, rape, and you know, here in Atlantic County, with us being a tourist destination, the amount of exploitation of children, women, men, human trafficking that goes on, people don't recognize it and don't see it. But there is a large law enforcement effort to try and quell that. But you know, here in Atlantic County with Avanzar, which is formerly known as the Women's Center, you know, I've been a board member since 2008, president for 3 terms there, past president. And matter of fact, that's where I first met Commissioner Fitzpatrick, as you know, she was an employee of the Women's Center at that point. And the work that they do, you know, they're the premier agency, and the work that the county does with county administration seeking the grants for the sexual assault response teams and the nurses to go out and be with the victims. It's much needed here, and people don't realize the cost impact. You know, sexual assault is probably one of the most high dollar costs to the taxpayers at over $125 billion every year. So just again, I want to say thank you to Commissioner Fitzpatrick for bringing this forward, and I will absolutely support this resolution.
Thank you, Commissioner Ballas, and thank you for the time you spend on that, you know, with the Women's Center. Do I have any other comments from the commissioners? Seeing none, any comments from the public?
No comments from the public.
Thank you. We'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. That concludes the written portion of our agenda. Do we have any reports of special committees of the board?
Madam Chair.
Yep, Commissioner.
Thank you. We just recently, the Bridges and Roads Committee met. As you guys can tell, there's a variety of projects going on all over Atlantic County. Some of these, and I think we've discussed this before, were held up because of COVID last year and permitting and everything else that went along with that. We have done right now. I'm you know, we doing our road construction, our projects, everything we've been doing that's under design, repair. I think I have a question too through you, Madam Chair, to Jerry or Mark. I've been getting a couple of comments from public, and they do not understand the process for evaluating our bridges and the review of the bridges. With a few of them that are out, they're looking as to believe they don't understand why we didn't realize that its issue was on the horizon, and we waited till it was closed. And I think we need to do a little explanation again, if you guys would, on the process involved, who actually does the inspections, and why there seems to be a delay in keeping these things open when they're almost, when they're almost fatigued and fail.
Before Mark gets on, I just want to make a comment that, we have major bridges over 20 feet, minor bridges under 20 feet. The state actually does the inspections of those bridges through contracts with engineering firms. But Mark has been very instrumental in getting us back in line for the minor bridges, and I'll let Mark discuss that with you. I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that there had been some issues with getting them reviewed and inspected. And Mark has had some conversations with DOT about getting us back in line. So, Mark, you still there?
I am, Jerry. Yes, and that is correct. The state looks at the major and minor bridges differently. The major bridges are inspected every 2 years under contract by the DOT. The minor bridges, have no designated time frame between their inspections. And the minor bridges in Atlantic County were last inspected in 2012. Or we received the reports in 2012. As a result of the of those reports in 2012, BV2, the bridge that was just most recently closed in Folsom on 8th Street, was put out to contract. We have a consultant working on the design for that bridge, for the replacement of that bridge. As it deteriorated, we made Public Works made some repairs to the bridge, and most recently was putting plates on one side of the bridge when it was discovered that the stringers were so compromised that it forced the closure of that bridge. We had reduced the weight limit and found that even though the weight limit was reduced, trucks and buses were still going over the bridge. As you know, out in that area, they don't have local police enforcement there. So really the only thing we could do was signage. But the compromise based on that, our inspection of the bridge, was that we had to close it. So to answer the commissioner's question, we do look at the bridges on a regular basis. However, we do rely upon the state's inspections. As Jerry mentioned, because of these two incidents, I petitioned the DOT to advance the Atlantic County's standing in the rolling contracts for inspections, and we were placed on this year's contract list. That's currently out to bid, will be awarded, and we will get the inspections, the inspection reports as those inspections are made. So we are having those done, and directly it's a matter of manpower, time frame, being able to go out and get, and our reliance on the prior inspections of the bridges. We've got hundreds of bridges in Atlantic County, and we're doing our best to look at them. We have, this past year, we had 3 inspections. Outside of the state's contract, we had 3 other bridges inspected. Also, our self-inspection by consultants, that is, by our self-inspection has moved to the 2 timber bridges on Moss Mill Road in Galloway, to the point where we're putting those out for replacement. The one at Maddox Run near Smithville, and the one closer to Pomona Road, both of which we've had guide rail replacements on, but these are old timber bridges. And it takes, as I had commented before, it takes about 5 years to go through the process of design and then permitting and then into construction to replace even the small minor bridges and or bridges that could be majors, but like Lakes Creek Bridge. It's taken over 5 years to get to the point where we'll soon see that go out to contract. So we have currently, about 14 bridges under design. So we will see the bridge in Egg Harbor City at the parks there. That will be replaced next year. As I said, Lakes Creek Bridge. We've got quite a few bridges that we'll see replaced in the somewhat near future, but it takes a while to go through the geotech work, survey work, and the permitting work. Besides the engineering design, of these bridges. So I hope that answers some of the questions. And and we're doing our best, and we're going to see the inspection reports rolling in pretty soon on our minor bridges.
Thank you, Mark. Do we have any other comments? Commissioner Bertino?
No, just that I know it's difficult, and I know we all, as commissioners, hear this from the people that we represent. They never could understand that kind of a timeline, and talking about the process 4 or 5 years. Even, I can't wait to tell a couple of them that the last time the state inspected some of their minor bridges was 2012. That should make everybody pretty excited when I pass that on to them. So I know what you guys are going through. The only thing I can say is, as we've discussed in the bridge meetings, and you guys have heard it from us individually, any of these bridges that are down, whatever we need to do to get to the state to allow us to do these repairs, if there's some kind of additional pressure you guys need us to help with at the state level. It's not my first trip to the commissioner's office. If I need something done on bridges and roads, because to help with that permit process, don't be afraid to ask, because for somebody to be waiting a year or 2 or 3 on a little minor bridge that has decking on it, they're going to look at us like we're crazy, as they should. And I know you guys understand the public sentiments on that.
Yeah, it should be recognized that some of these bridges, we have many bridges that are over 100 years old. The standards to which that they were designed and constructed are not the standards that we have to work with to replace them. Many times, the roads that we have bridges on, and I know that you all recognize that many of the county's bridges are on municipal roads, not on county roads. Many of those roadways are only a 2-rod road, which a rod is 16.5 feet. We're talking about 33-foot wide right of way. Many times when we have to replace a bridge on a road like that, we have to obtain additional right of way. So that means we have to coordinate it with the municipality, because it's a municipal right of way, and then we have to coordinate with the property owners, and the right of way acquisition oftentimes takes a deal of time. And some of the reasons why we have to do that is wind walls and or scour protection within the actual waterway itself exceed that. It's not just the width of the bridge itself. It's the other parts of the bridge that might exceed that right of way width. So yes, it is hard to understand why it is that the design process and the permitting process and maybe right-of-way acquisition takes as long as it does. But again, because we're a public agency, I just can't go out there and say, hey, I want 60-foot wide right-of-way for 200 feet on each approach to the bridge. Really what I have to do is get through the concept, and we are in a situation where we're acting for the public, so we're taking the minimum amount of right-of-way in order to be able to perform the work that we have to do. And that means I've got to get into about 60% of the design in order to determine the extent of right-of-way that I need. And that includes the sloping, and even if I need construction easements during that time frame, I've got to negotiate that. So all that's, extends the process. We'd love to plow through these things a lot faster than we can, but we're somewhat tied to a lot of those regulations and our work within the government parameters.
Thank you, Mark. Do I have any other comments from the commissioners? Okay, seeing none, do we have any other reports on committees? Okay, seeing none, do we have any unfinished business? Oh, seeing none, does anybody have any new business?
Madam Chair.
Yep, Commissioner Ballas.
Yeah, just want to make mention that this week is National Volunteers Week, and just want to take the opportunity to say thank you to all the volunteers across the county. As you know, many municipalities rely on their volunteers for all their different boards, and fire service, some ambulance service. recreation, coaches and everything else. We could not do and we could not afford to live in this county or this state if it was not for volunteers. And just like to take the opportunity to say thank you to all the volunteers during this week of National Volunteer Week.
Thank you, Commissioner. And believe me, the volunteers have been overworked this past year too. And many, many people have come out to help and volunteer. So thank you for that. Do we have anything else in new business? I'm also going to mention, Thursday is Earth Day, but ACUA has been doing a tremendous job with making it month, throughout the month. And they've got a lot of different things on, throughout the month that they put them. So it really, everybody should take a look at that at acu.com. So we've received copies of written communication petitions. Any commissioner comments? Okay, seeing none, we'll now open to the public portion. Anyone that would like to speak, please type yes and the resolution number in the question and answer box, but you don't have to put the resolution number there. You'll be raised from an attendee to a panelist. When you're raised, please state your name and the town you are from. Do we have any comments from the public?
Just waiting a couple of moments to see if anyone, we do have a comment. Jerry Griffin would like to speak.
Madam Clerk, I just wanted to let everybody know that I had typed in an answer. I wasn't sure what the protocol was for. I said I would get an answer for that one MCH washer and dryer contract. The amount of money spent last year on the last 2-year contract was $58,500 of the total $105,000 contract. This new contract is the same amount bid, is $105,000 for 2 years. It includes 250 hours of labor per year and $150 per hour at $150 per hour, along with parts in the amount of $15,000 per year for the 2 years.
Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate you doing that so quickly. Do we have any other comments? Any other comments from the public?
No comments from the public.
Okay, do we have any?
Mr. Pogue said thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, any comments for the good of the order? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Hey, all those in favor?
Aye.